For joining our meet and greet. Our special guest today is Rajan, and you can see, well, it's to my left on screen, but you can see that Nick, a wild Rajan has appeared. So I'm Rain. I'm a developer advocate with Qualcomm. I specialize in open source. Nick, why don't you introduce yourself and then turn it over to Rajan?
Hi everyone, I'm Rajan Mistry. I'm also kind of a developer evangelist, tech advocate at Qualcomm. I work with the developer marketing team. I actually work across the board with all the different views, whether it's IoT or AI or automotive or compute. We basically anything that developers touch to build something on top of Qualcomm platforms, we try to make it easier for developers, right? So we have developer.qualcomm.com. That's the go-to portal that we maintain, and overall, I love collaborating with the development people.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So we have an exciting session today. We have a demo of our RB3 platform. Well, we have a couple other surprises towards the end that I'll let Rajan talk about. And we're going to definitely have a lot of times for questions. So just, get everyone, we're friendly in the chat. So if you have anything as we go, we'll be monitoring it. That's why I have my laptop here. So just feel free, and I'll let you start where you want to start, Rajan.
Yeah, sure. So we have a few things that we want to share with you today. Two of them are around IoT on the RB3 Gen 2 development kit, and the third one I'll leave for the last. That's a big deal for us, at least maybe not externally, but yeah. So for IoT RB3 Gen 2, right, we wanted to share a couple of demos that we did very recently at one of the events. So we were at AWS reInvent. That's a very big developer focused event that is hosted by AWS, and there's a lot of solution architects, a lot of developers there trying to find solutions on for different problems, right? And what we were showcasing at that event was how developers can actually run AI workloads at the edge, right? And you can use the Qualcomm platforms with a variety of AWS services, right? Whether it's training your AI models on SageMaker or using AWS IoT to actually manage your fleet, or RoboMaker, or there's a bunch of services on AWS that you can use the Qualcomm platforms with. So so yeah, one of these demos that we did, we tried to build this end-to-end kind of a use case where we showed developers how they can take a model, they can train it on SageMaker, and they can use Qualcomm tools to actually optimize it to run on device, and then deploy it using some of the services that we have collaborated with Foundries, for example. So let me go ahead and share my screen. I have a brief architecture that kind of outlines the uh, whole workflow.
And while you're pulling that up, I am going to confirm what Nick says. Not only are we not allowed to talk about the conflict with ARM, we know nothing.
Exactly.
So whatever you see publicly online is probably more than we actually know personally. All right, and I think I can even make this screen bigger. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, you should be able to. If you guys can't see it, if you click it a couple times, it will get bigger on your screen.
Yeah.
Let us know. It's interestingly showing the entire presentation as opposed to the actual display.
Yeah, just slideshow.
Yeah, it's showing the
UB5.
Yeah, stop sharing it for a second and then leave the presentation going. If you go back over.
Yeah, I shared the whole window.
You just have to share the PowerPoint. Always trying new things, guys. That's part of what we ask for, is test them out, try new things, we bring them to you guys.
Nice. Yeah.
Let's loading. Thank you.
Oh, I see it. It's sharing the slideshow now, proper.
Okay, great. Then
Okay.
we'll go. I can't see it on mine, but we'll just on that. So
So this kind of shows you a very high level architecture of the actual demo that we showed, right? From left to right, we took a model. It was a YOLO V5 model, and first of all, big shout out to Mike and team from Foundries. They set up this whole demo. This Foundries call out is for the on device inference. We kind of use their stack to deploy uh, the OS and the models on device. Shout out to Mike. But you can see the overall architecture of the demo, right? We wanted to show how developers can build an end-to-end use case and deploy it on device, right? So we took a YOLO V5 model and we took a data set. In our case, it was a bird training data set. It was a Caltech UCSD data set to train birds.
Yeah.
So that data set has about 200 birds. We took about 80 of those birds and trained the model on those.
It's a bird.
That's kind of great. And then once we trained the model on SageMaker, we got the TF9 model from SageMaker. Then we use some of the Qualcomm tools to optimize it to run it on device, right? And then once we got the optimized and quantized model using the Qualcomm tools, we then deployed it, and the inference was running on device, right? So the big Foundries.io box that you see, where it is using some of the software stack on device, some of the tools like the IM SDK, Multimedia SDK, which allows developers to build the whole end-to-end pipeline very easily. These are all GStreamer plugins. So you can create a pipeline using one command. You can define what camera source you want, what AI model you want, where is AI model, where are the labels.
Yeah.
So in that one call, you can kind of define your end-to-end pipeline, and then where you want the data to go, right? You want to stream it to an HDMI display, or you want to create an RTSP stream out of it. So it kind of enables you to build that whole end-to-end pipeline very easily.
So is it safe to say that Foundries is giving us essentially recipes for the platform?
Yes, Foundries is giving us recipes for the platform for sure.
Okay.
It is running an open embedded stack version of Linux, and Foundries makes that easier as well. So if a developer is not familiar with the open embedded Yocto workflow, it's a little bit hands-on process to actually build the OS for the device, right? That's where Foundries comes into picture. They have the pre-built recipes, pre-built OSs that include all the SDKs from Qualcomm, and out of the box you can build cool use cases like that.
And you know, for everyone listening in the audience, this is, if it's not your first time here, you've heard us talk about before how, you know, Qualcomm is really on this long-term journey to pivot and make sure that all of the platforms that we're putting out in the community are developer friendly. Developer first is what we use internally, and this is just another step in that journey. There's so many more to come, and there's many that have come before, but really we want to make sure that, you know, when you have an idea in your head, if you want to put on an IoT kit, you can get the kit, and then you can get the software you need for it and build what you want to build on it without too much of the know how to develop for embedded headaches that come up often. So it's really cool to see this. Did you want to add anything there, Rain? I know you've worked a lot with this platform.
Yeah, I feel like this is like when I first joined OpenStack. By the way, if you haven't heard of OpenStack, open source cloud platform. And when I first joined, the installation took weeks to complete and was incredibly painful. Prefer Kate, exactly. Prefer Kubernetes. Similarly, Kubernetes took a while to get going as well, probably because I'm that age and have played with these things pretty early on. But yeah, I do feel like the RB3 Gen 2 is getting better and better every day. I love that Foundries is involved now. I love that we're actually building public demos. A crew for Edge IoT plus Kubernetes is chef's kiss. Yes. Over OpenStack, possibly. We could take this discussion offline. But the first time that I installed OpenStack, it was incredibly painful, and even just one major release later, it was infinitely better. And I feel like the RB3 Gen 2 is doing similar work in the sense that, yes, the hardware is fixed and whatnot, but the operating system, Qualcomm Linux, that's running on top of it, is making leaps and bounds every major release. And I want to say 1.3 is coming out like imminently, like maybe on Friday, and no promises, but it's again making a huge leap forward, and I love every leap forward, especially with founders involved, which I put that in there. I do want to answer one question I saw go past, which was Huton's question. Can you please tell us about why some games are not compatible with Windows on Snapdragon? Let us know any ETA or discussions with gaming platforms rather than Epic Games, which already is collaborating with Qualcomm. So first of all, I didn't even know Epic Games was collaborating with Qualcomm, and oh my god, that's so cool.
Unreal Engine will run on the Snapdragon X Elite. If you have one of those, you can build on it and then get the NPU performance.
Amazing. No, we don't actually have direct insight into the gaming platforms on top of Windows on Snapdragon. Nick works more with Windows on Snapdragon, but again, I think we're looking more at feedback and stuff like that and watching the inroads rather than the specific ETAs or discussions. Do you have anything to add to that?
I do, yeah. I don't want to take us too far off topic from the RB3, but definitely want to answer the question. So essentially, this is our first generation of, SoC that we're releasing for an ARM PC with Windows on Snapdragon. So there is going to be a transition period where some applications are supported and some are not. If you look ahead maybe 5 years and you think about what it could look like, at that time, you're going to see a lot more games. We can't promise, of course, that everything is going to be on there because it's up to the development teams themselves to decide, hey, I want to add in the optimizations for this platform. But by and large, we are working with the different publishers and developers of games, and there's a rapid transition to make sure that they support the NPU. So we don't, like Rain said, we don't have any timelines, we don't have any visibility into that, but it's definitely coming, and it's on the top of everyone's mind. I do know that there's going to be a Qualcomm presence at GDC, for example. It's happening in March. So we're showing up to the places that we need to be. And for my part, I actually went to Unreal Fest in Seattle this past fall, and I saw a lot of what was going on with Unreal Engine on the platform. So there's a lot of stuff to come. Just keep an eye out for it. And if you ever see the feedback section as you're looking through the Qualcomm website, feel free to leave some feedback. Hey, I don't see my favorite game, insert game here. And that's how you can let the team know.
Rajan, I know you have more demos to show. We just got a question asking about.
Can you guys see the video stream from my laptop?
Yeah, it's not showing on my computer.
Rain, can you?
I can, and I can see.
So that is actually the video stream from the RB3 Gen 2 that's connected to my laptop, right?
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
And then I'm just going to put a few words on top of it. Like you can see it's detecting a cardinal right there.
And we'll pull the hardware around in a second once we're done with the demo so you can see what is actually on the other end of this.
And then it shows a hummingbird. Right? So this kind of shows a couple of different examples. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So it's kind of trained on about 80 birds, but you can insert your use case there, right? We were talking at AWS. Hold on, let me stop sharing so we have review.
What AI model did you use for that, Rajan?
It was a YOLO V5. So YOLO V5 model, and then the training data set was from Caltech UCSD. It's a birds training data set. And actually that is a tutorial on AWS on how you can do this, of how you can take the YOLO V5 model and then take the data set and train the data set on that model on SageMaker. We just followed that recipe on AWS and we ported it to RB3 Gen 2.
Nice. And how can developers find that? Is it on AI Hub?
The model itself is on AI Hub. But like the retraining recipe, like I said, is on AWS. You can just Google it. Hopefully, we will be able to. So stay tuned on this. The entire recipe, end to end, how you can do this, not just the AWS SageMaker part, but also using the Qualcomm tools to optimize it, getting the foundries builds, and then deploying it on device. Hopefully, we will be able to publish it on GitHub soon. It's under review. It's under the open source review. We'll see. Hopefully, in the new year, we'll be able to get it out to.
Does this look familiar? Because I'll share the link in the. Yes, that's it. Okay, guys, link incoming. Yeah. There we go.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. It's amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, so that was a demo that we showed at AWS, right?
Nice.
And we were talking to developers there. We had like it's insert your use case here, right? Whatever data set you want to train on. We had like airline companies that were managing the queues at the airport terminal based on computer vision use cases.
Nice.
But they were deploying all of this on the server, right? So they actually needed to have a local server at all of these terminals that is doing all of this processing. And if you can just do this on a smart camera, it becomes so much more efficient for deployment, right? It becomes so much more easier. And we were talking to like pharmaceutical companies that were using the whole AWS backend to train their data, and then for their R&D and their manufacturing process, they were training their data. They were also running the inference on the cloud. So training data is one time, right? You train your data on your you train your model on your data once, but then if you're running the inference on the cloud all the time, you're around. That's a big cost, right? So moving all of that inferencing on device is a big initiative, right? Developers are looking to do that. So we had great conversations around that. So that was awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. And just so you guys have the context, I'm going to go ahead and scoot the computer around so you can actually see what we're seeing in terms of the hardware. Sorry about the clunkiness.
That's okay. It looks great.
Yeah.
Look at that little RB3 Gen 2.
The demo you guys see is running on, and we have a lot of tools available. We've talked about AI Hub, and there's more to come in the new year. As you can see, we're slowly making good on our promise to bring you more technical demos. So today we have obviously a technical demo that's running, and next year we're going to be doing even more hands-on stuff. But these are the sorts of platforms that we have available, and as they become ready, we're going to make sure that we share with you guys how to use them so that it's,
talking of tools.
Yeah,
talking of tools. The next thing we wanted to share, this was very recent on RB3 Gen 2 also, is Rain talked about the initial learning curve of getting open embedded Docto up and running on RB3 Gen 2, right? There is now a build from Canonical, an Ubuntu build from Canonical that is available to developers, right? So you can just go to qualcomm.com/developers and just search for Ubuntu on IoT, and you can actually get that build from Canonical that works on the RB3 Gen 2, right? It supports all the usual tools that Qualcomm provides, all the GCMA pipeline that we talked about that helps you create that end-to-end AI pipeline and all of that. It's all going to be part of that Ubuntu build.
That's amazing. I'm getting the link for you guys.
Yeah. Oh, I totally shared it, and so did Jamal. We've all shared that.
Nothing. Nice job. So I want to take this opportunity then to, now that we have that fun announcement, to go back and maybe answer a couple questions. If you guys have any questions, keep them coming. We're happy to answer them. We got a question on, I need to scroll back quite a bit. I saw there was one that was reposted about the XR headset, so I'll start with that one because that came earlier on. So the question was, are these dev kits the same as used for the XR headset? I don't believe so, but
they are not. So XR headsets are a different beast. Because there's so much going on in terms of just the rendering the thing. So these are more geared towards IoT use cases. RB3 Gen 2 is an IoT computer vision sort of use case. We did have some XR dev kits. I mean, the SoC is going to MetaQuest and a lot of different dev kits, right? So there is going to be a lot of updates around XR in FY25 as well. So I would say stay tuned on that. we can't give away much, but there will be hardware, there will
Yeah.
be software updates, lots of exciting stuff happening around XR as well.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
The next question we got also from Do Arster. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry. I'm going to go with Jerster because that's fun. So the next question was, have we been able to make use of the local MPUs on the X Elites for fine-tuning locally? And I'll just extend that to RB3 too, because it also has something similar. The answer is you could if you wanted to, but it's not designed for that. And the reason why I say that you could is because I think there will come a point as the AI workflows develop where we're going to find different ways to fine tune, or maybe you only need to do a little bit of fine tuning. But right now, the way that the hardware is optimized is that it's set for inference. So it's really meant to do inferencing on the edge, assuming you have a model that's already prepared. Now, of course, there's use cases, and this is sort of what Rajan was talking about. Like an airport, for example, where you're watching a queue of people, maybe you want to update the model as you're going, right? In that case, you might want to collect data, but and you might even try to do some tuning on the device, but often it can be slower than you would expect. And so for now, the recommended workflow is to do it in the cloud or using a beefier training device, and then you're doing the inferencing on our platforms. And that would apply for both the X Elite and the RB3.
Yeah, and tools like the canonical builds, right? The Foundries builds, the canonical builds. For the Ubuntu version, you can actually have your model after press a snap.
Yeah.
And you just update the snap as you go, right? So if you discover you have new data, to train a new model, you want to deploy it, it's just a snap you need to update.
Nice.
Right? And that makes it a lot easier for deployment.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that's great. So then we have another question from David Ramirez. I'm going to go with David. So is it possible to use IMET within AI Hub for deployment with quantized models? So excellent question. The cool thing about AI Hub is AI Hub uses the tools that Qualcomm makes available. Do you have your charger? Your computer is
No.
Yeah. So the AI Hub uses all of our tools on the back end to actually do the model preparation for deployment. So we sort of have two paths that we're working on right now. You can go the AI Engine Direct path, which gives you direct low-level access to compiling models and optimize them for your platform. Then you can also take the AI Hub route. If you go the QNN route, you would then also use IMET, which is AI Model Efficiency Toolkit, to quantize and prepare your model. There's a lot of cool things in there. There's too many to even go through right now, but you would put those two together. AI Hub uses both of those on the back end when you pick a model and actually optimizes the models for you. So if you want to say YOLO V8, right, you would be able to go there, get that model, and AI Hub is going to provide you a model that has been prepared and optimized using QNN, which is AI Engine Direct, and IMET. So yes, it's totally possible. And if you don't want to relinquish that much control, because there's definitely developers who love to get down and dirty with the code and really dig into it, you can totally just bypass AI Hub directly and go do it yourself. Is there anything you wanted to add, Rajan or Rain?
Not for that. I think you put it very well. I just wanted to go back and reflect on what just happened. And full disclosure, I do not have a Snapdragon X Elite laptop. when we started the call, it had 2 hours of battery life.
Yeah.
And then after half an hour after that, it was dying. So
yeah,
looking forward to getting my Snapdragon X Elite work laptop very soon.
Yeah. If you guys haven't had the chance to use one, the battery life is amazing. I've done so much in the past year with X Elite since they've been out for 6 months, and we had some test machines, of course, before they came out, and it is incredible that I had a day where I went to a conference in India and I showed up with a 60% laptop because my plug wasn't working in the hotel room, and it went all day for 8 hours running the AI workloads, and I went only from 60 to 20%. So it was
that's sick.
It's really, really incredible.
Amazing.
So, okay, I think that was. There's more questions, I'm sure. Do you want to?
I got you.
Yeah.
Hybrid Robotics asked if the RB3 Gen 2 and the RB5 Vision kits are available to purchase now. Yes, but not directly from Qualcomm. I tend to send people to Google because it'll give you the most convenient reseller near you. Thundercom seems to be popular. And there was a question about assuming that the heat is also significantly better as well on Windows Snapdragon. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. I mean, the way, just to give you a little bit of background, the way that the X-Leads came about is we took essentially all the expertise that Qualcomm has in the mobile department, and they rebuilt cores from the ground up to get the X-Elite. So you're taking all of the learnings, all the optimizations, the power optimizations, performance, etc., and we're just porting it over to this new platform. And you can see the results right away. Again, if you haven't had the computer in your hands and you haven't used it, it's hard to imagine, but it's similar to other companies that have in the past couple of years released computers using ARM architecture. No names, but hopefully you get the idea of what I'm talking about. You'll see a similar performance bump as the industry saw when that happened too. So, and ours are extremely competitive with the latest benchmarks. We're leading in several of them. So you'll be pleasantly surprised when you get your hands on one. And if you are still on the fence, we're always doing events across the country and across the world. San Francisco, New York City, India, Bangalore and Delhi is where we've been already, and there's more to come in 2025. So definitely stay on our list. We'll blast all these out in our developer Discord, which you are already in, and we'll also be sending those out in newsletters, etc. So those are great opportunities to get your hands on the platform and try.
I think it's a good segue. I think talking about Windows and Snapdragon, talking about Snapdragon X Elite, talking about the awesome battery life, AI use cases.
Yeah.
We are very excited to announce our online contest on DevPost. Right, so we have launched an online contest on DevPost that is going to be for developers that are building apps for Windows on Snapdragon. Right, you can use AI use cases, build apps on Windows with AI built into them. We have all the tools. We have a bunch of models from Qualcomm AI Hub, and I think we will share the link to DevPost in the chat. And please go check it out. There's about 20,000 in prizes that we are giving away.
Yeah.
It will run for 6 weeks, Jan 15 to end of Feb, I think. So you have 6 weeks to kind of build an application and submit your work. And I think we had we did some of these recently, right? So we had a bunch of developers in a room, like a sprint hackathon sort of thing on Windows.
We did.
You were part of that, right? Can
we
you
did.
Share some.
So we just recently did our first Qualcomm Developer Relations Hackathon. It was keeping with our theme. If any of you guys have been to any of our events that we've had in the past year, we've been sticking with the theme of AI on the edge. So it's been about how can we build applications that run disconnected from the cloud to show the power of this for developers who are thinking of what they want to build. So last weekend, actually, excuse me, not last weekend, 2 weekends ago, we held a hackathon in New York City, and we invited developers who build AI applications to come and build on our platform. And we gave every team that participated, there were 20 teams, an X-Elite laptop, and we said, you guys have 24 hours, go build something. And boy, did they deliver. I am not overestimating when I say that the participants here, we had students and industry partners, and we didn't, use their experience as the selection criteria. It was more of what did they pitch that they wanted to build on the platform. And so we had a huge showing, and man, the applications were great. Just to bring you a couple of these, we had our winner built an application that essentially removed all personal identifying information from code or any text at all. So what you can do is you take any document and you use this tool. It's a tiny little box in the bottom corner, and it would go into your document and remove everything. So it's really useful, for example, if you have a GitHub workflow where it would go through and it could, help you avoid those, oops, I accidentally loaded my API token to GitHub, because we've all done that before and it's not fun. So that was super cool. What else did we have? Hang on, I have all the list of applications so I can tell you guys. We had another super awesome one. So one team went above and beyond, and they made, it was called Code Guardian, and they made an on-device, essentially code security checker. So you could take all your code and run it through the LLM without sending it to the cloud, and it would tell you what are known security vulnerabilities that exist. And so it checks for those online, and it brings it back, and then it checks it against your code, which stays on the device. So you don't have to send anything off. And not only did they make this, but then they published it to the App Store. So that if you're in the Visual Studio Extension store, you can actually find Code Guardian. And we're going to be sharing all these links too, of course. So it's not just I'm telling you about this, so you have to hear about it. We're preparing some material. We're going to have blogs and interviews with the developers that are going to come out soon on the Discord channel so that you can see. And again, then the opportunity is going to be there if anybody here wants to participate in those. There's more to come. And, we definitely want to see what you guys can build. Just maybe two other apps that I wanted to highlight. The winner, like I said, was the PII removal app. We also had, they were the popular votes, so all the teams actually selected them. And then we had a technical winner, which was selected based on the technical merit of what they actually built. And we sent two apps were very similar, so we counted them both as winner. We had a legal document analyzer and then one that was an insurance policy analyzer. So Policy Pal and then the legal doc analyzer, which is called Legal Doc Analyzer. But what they're able to do is they're able to go in and take a PDF or a text file of a legal contract and turn it into natural language and explain it to you and say, here's what this contract is having you sign. Here's what is available in your insurance policy. Here's how it works. Here's the things you might want to be aware of when you're signing this. And it was super cool. They built it all in 24 hours and it's all running on device using the NPU. And you got that amazing battery life that we've been talking about. And they all highlighted that in those. They worked for 24 hours with these laptops that they didn't have to charge at all, and they weren't dead to do the demos at the end. So super cool stuff, and definitely more to come on that, including the GitHubs for all those applications in the next couple weeks.
Awesome.
Amazing.
And we are looking forward to seeing what developers will do with the online contest as well.
Yeah.
They will have 6 weeks, right? So we are hoping people will be a lot more creative and not more quality of apps coming out of this.
Yeah. How are you selecting people to participate? I know that we're sending out devices in case that wasn't clear. So we have 20 RB3 devices that if you register for it.
Two things. So dev post, we are not shipping out devices.
Oh, we're not?
No. So this is for Windows on Snapdragon. If they have a Windows on Snapdragon device, they can do that, or they can rent some time on QDC. So
okay.
On device cloud, they
QDC.
can get some time on QDC. There is a second hackathon that we are planning, which is around RB3 Gen 2, and that is going to be on Hackster.
Okay.
That is going to be on Hackster.
You heard it here first.
And that is not there yet. We are still working through the details with Hackster and going through the motions internally here. But for that one, we will be shipping units. We will be shipping 20 devices. So how that one is going to work is phase one is we are going to solicit proposals of what they actually want to build, what models they want to use, what they envision for the app to be, and then we'll select 20 teams and we'll ship around. So hacks are coming up as well, but not there yet. We'll hopefully Q1.
So come up with your ideas and and feel free to send them to us in Discord, and we can vet them, talk through them if you have questions. I mean, we really want this to be a collaborative effort. So those are going to be really exciting, and we got a lot of good feedback on the last experience, and I really am excited to see what you guys can build in this next session that we're doing.
Yeah. So Qualcomm QDC is the Qualcomm Device Cloud, which I have linked in our chat. I have answered Hybrid Robotics wanted to know if we could do a comparative analysis of the RB3 Gen 2, RB5 versus NVIDIA or a Nano 8 gig board, which unfortunately we can't, but I would love to read that research. And then Fixer totally said we will be giving away a bunch of Windows on Snapdragon hardware in 2025 in the Dev Echo, which is another Discord channel, by the way, anonymous developer. So definitely check that out as well. And then Jerster says, it sounds like someone should invest some time to hook up RB3 Gen 2 to a couple different types of microscopes, video outputs. Agreed. I would love some more exploration of the mic capability of the RB3 Gen 2. I definitely have a variety of mics in my home lab, but no time to actually explore. So, yes, please.
It's a give and a take. We build what we can as we go, and then we share it with you guys to build more because we can't do everything ourselves.
Yeah.
So, anything else that you wanted to? You have a huge fan in the audience. Did you see that?
Hey, I do. Fixer is Robert. He's over on Dev Echo. It's pretty awesome.
We go back a long time. So I joined Qualcomm like 6 years ago.
Okay.
When Qualcomm had one of the first like mass market development kits
Nice.
that was going up against the Raspberry Pi. I mean, it wasn't at that scale, but it was a Dragon Board 410C.
Okay.
Right, and I know Fixer / Robert since then. We go back a long way. We've collaborated on that platform and ever since. So yeah. Love working with the guy.
Yeah.
There you go. Can you talk a little bit?
We're a big fan of you, Fixer.
We are.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about what it's been like for you since you've been watching this transition a little bit longer?
There has been a lot of growth, right? So from my perspective, the direction that Qualcomm is going in terms of enabling developers has come a long way, right? So for example, the Dragon Board 410C was a great platform, right? It had an awesome kick-ass CPU, but it was a little bit ahead of its time in terms of there were actually no tools to access the NPU. And for years, the biggest request we got from developers was, hey, how do I run any workloads on the NPU, right? And the tools just didn't exist, right? And that was what we did or what Qualcomm invested in Dragon Board 410C. Some of the tools that we built were the foundation of what we have today, like the fast RPC stack, like all of the AI tools, all of the Snappy tools that are like offloading AI workloads on the NPU. That was the start of it, right? And now that we see more and more us investing in developer tools and focusing on tools, that's the right direction.
Yeah.
For me. Yeah. Right. Because enabling developers has been the key charter for me at Qualcomm.
Yeah.
Right. And I've seen us come a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Even in our time, Rain and I have said before we started in this role in March, and I've been at Qualcomm before, so I can speak to it as well. I mean, it's a huge change, and it's still going, and there's so much more to come, and it's really encouraging to see what's been happening.
For sure. Hey, Hybrid Robotics, DM me about RB3 Gen 2 and RB5 vision kits.
Yeah.
So we have some of the comparisons on developers. If you go to developer.qualcomm.com.
Oh, we do. Okay.
And go to RB3 Gen 2,
Yeah.
you see it 5490. But the comparison is all internal, right? So it's RB3 versus RB5 versus 5490, the Qualcomm SoCs. Those doesn't have the NVIDIA. It's in right. Yeah. So you can find some of it on developer, but probably not external platforms.
Yeah. Okay. That's good to know. I mean, there's a lot there. The developer tab on Qualcomm.com is new as of this year, and everything has migrated there. And it's thank you, Rain, for sharing the link. Wonderful. There's a lot of information there. I mean, if you don't know where to start, that's a good place to start. And you can find links to everything we have, our platforms, etc. So definitely check it out. I saw a couple questions come through that I wanted to address. Again, Hooten, you have a lot of fun questions for us that are hard to answer. The answer is no, haven't tried that because macOS is a proprietary operating system that is not licensed outside of the ecosystem.
So, get Linux working first.
Yeah, Linux is a lot more important, I think, for developers. So go ahead, try it. I mean, there's definitely people that do that, but we're definitely putting a lot of our efforts right now into Linux. Again, we just got the Ubuntu build released, and it's by no there's work to do on it for sure. So we're focusing all our efforts there in 2025, and I think we'll have a really great release of that, over time as we continue to improve it.
The Ubuntu documentation. I feel like I put that up.
Right under the more cowbell. Ding, 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 ding.
Right.
It's on the page. I think the link was shared earlier. You should be able to find the documentation there. And you can also Google it. So if you search Qualcomm Developer Ubuntu, you'll see that on there as well. There we go. Thanks, Rain.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah. So is there anything else you want to talk about today?
No, I think we covered most of it. And again, Ubuntu documentation, if there is something missing, please reach out to us, give us that feedback. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm trying to do this, and it's not perfect. We just launched it. There is
Yeah.
some set of documentation to help you get started,
Mhm.
but I'm sure it's not complete. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to you ripping it apart and telling us how bad
Yeah,
it is.
yeah. And so that you all know, again, we on every page that's in the documentation when you're in this, there's a little feedback button. It's on the right side. It's vertical, and it says feedback. If you click that, you can submit feedback, and that goes directly into our systems to the teams that need to update things. So if you're missing anything, don't wait. Don't be be frustrated, please. We're frustrated too, but just breathe through it, and when you're ready, if you submit feedback and tell us, even if you have to use a lot of expletives and strongly worded language, go for it. But we'll actually take that and implement changes. There's a lot of, like I said, efforts to improve what we're doing, and it's not going to slow down anytime soon.
Yeah, right now I'm the one using the feedback thing as much as possible. It's not just about things that might be missing, but anytime you're confused about something or lost or anything like that, that's a feedback opportunity. We don't know about if Rajan, do you know if the Ubuntu version supports graphical?
So the Qualcomm Intelligent Multimedia SDK, that's our name of the GST plugins that we open sourced. Those will be available for the Ubuntu bits as well. I think it's apt-get install, and it should be as easy as that.
Yeah.
As far as I understand it, it's just apt-get install the SDK and get it.
Yeah. So it's not there, it's coming is the short answer.
Yeah, exactly.
It should be there. We were showing some demos at AWS.
Yeah.
So Canonical was at AWS with us in the booth, and they were showing that build, and they were showing some of the sample apps that use the GStreamer plugins. So it is there. It supports it. Yeah.
Is it running still with the host machine, or are you able to plug directly into the RB3?
You were able to plug directly.
There you go. You heard it here as well. That's huge for us. It was not there originally. So really excited.
That was one of the day zero requests we had.
Yes, it was
being able to plug directly into the device with a laptop. I mean, a keyboard, and just start coding directly, and that is coming.
So I guess since we're getting close to a point where we can wrap this up, I have a question for the audience, and which I'm going to pose first, and then I have a question for you, very important for this channel. We always have. Ray knows what's coming. So question for the audience first is, what kind of apps do you guys want to see built on the RB3? The reason I ask this is because we're putting a lot more effort into building sample applications. We want to not only say, here's a platform you can build on, but also here's a platform you can build on. Here's a bunch of applications that you can build from. That's important to all of us as developers. And, I'll speak for myself. I go out and look for that all the time. So if there's anything you'd like to see, just drop it in the chat. I would love to know. And I will personally take that back to the teams responsible for this, and we'll get those in progress if there's any good ideas there. So with that aside, Rajan, the very important question that we have is, are you team cat or are you team dog? Team dog. Team dog. There you go, Rain. There you go. Look at that. Every time.
Definitely.
You have a dog. I don't. So I'm still. It's a challenge for my kids.
Yeah.
If they can walk the dog, we will get it.
100%.
If not, that's
Yeah.
Oh, I appreciate that.
They need to reach.
Yeah. You had me at team dog though. Last time I was significantly outnumbered, and I think I was the only team dog, and then so I had to raise my cat mug to just bow down. So glad to hear about that.
I think my cat is hiding.
Thank you, Jerster, for the application. I've actually heard that a couple times, so I'll definitely take that back on the list. If anyone else has anything else, it has been a wonderful, extraordinary pleasure to talk to you today, Rajan. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
It was fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah. Any last words of wisdom or comments for the audience? Otherwise, we're going to wrap it up.
No, stay tuned. I think we have a lot more coming. We have a lot more to share. We have hopefully the Git repos and all will be able to do a more deep dive into the code walkthrough. So stay tuned.
Yeah,
we have a lot to share.
Definitely stay tuned. And if you're not following us already on LinkedIn, go check us out, because a lot of the information we post here is also on LinkedIn as well, including the Qualcomm channel. A lot of this is going to come out. So those Git repos for the hackathon apps and stuff that I mentioned, those will come. We'll post them to the Discord. We'll post them to our personal LinkedIn, and there's likely going to be some blogs about them as well. So stay tuned is the best way to end that. So once again, a pleasure. Thank you everyone for your time. We're going to be doing this again in the new year. Happy holidays, however you celebrate. I hope everyone finds time to get some rest and restoration. And yeah, we'll see you back in the new year.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Have a great rest of your year.
Bye, guys.